Cloudcast Media. Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media. We are pleased to have in the studio with us today Rob Smith, San Diego Site Director for the Center for Employment Opportunities. How you doing, Rob?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me on.
And he's got high credentials. He comes recommended by the inimitable Peter Kallstrom, a longtime community leader in San Diego. Peter was a frequent guest on our Spotlight on the Community Show. We are joined by my associate producer, Brandon Joe. He's a junior at UCSD, but an entrepreneur. He's the CEO of Treasure Hacks and does a great job as my co-host. So, Brandon, appreciate that. Rob, before we get into some questions here, maybe a little bit about the mission of your organization.
Yeah, well, CEO, we've been around for a number of years, started in the 1970s, working with folks coming out of incarceration. In 1996, we became our own 501c3, and our focus is getting people right from incarceration into employment and helping them to regain a foothold in society and through workforce development.
No, that's great. Do you work closely with Second Chance?
Actually, yes. I used to work at Second Chance.
Okay.
I was one of the management leadership team.
Sure. We've had Second Chance on, ever since, Scott Silverman founded it a zillion
That's
years.
how I met you.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And Scott's doing some other things right now, but anyone who knows Scott, he's a force, a character, is in recovery, as he always says, will always be in recovery. And just what you folks do is just spectacular. Brandon?
Just curious, when and how did you get involved with the Center of Employment Opportunities?
Well, I joined in 2015. But this work in particular, I got involved as a recipient of services. So I actually was incarcerated and then found my way into a program similar to currently the program that I manage now, and have been doing that work ever since 2000.
Wow, what a story. And if you don't mind, may I ask the story of how you went through the program yourself?
So I was incarcerated for trafficking narcotics and got in trouble as a young man and realized that path sort of had a dead end in terms of my career aspirations. And so, really thought long and hard about the person I wanted to be and the different future that I wanted to have, and got into this work as a way to help others. And years later, still doing it, but I find it continues to help me as much as I'm helping others.
Wow. I got to tell you, Brandon. Talking to Rob, who's gone through the program, and mentioned Second Chance, and Bill Payne now runs Second Chance. He's a delight, to say the least. You might have met him, Brandon. He's been on the show several times, and of course, what you're doing now. There's nothing better than to support organizations like this. And I think, and you could probably address this as well, do you track the amount of folks that don't go back into incarceration, recidivism through your programs?
Yeah, we're actually one of the few organizations nationwide that has a random control study looking at recidivism and showing a 22% reduction in recidivism.
Yeah, and the reason why that's important, Brandon, I'll just give you the numbers on this. Okay, so 22% recidivism means that once you go through this program, 22 out of 100 folks will not be going back into incarceration or something to that effect. At $80,000 a year times how many years they're incarcerated. Yeah. So if nothing else, you are saving the taxpayers a lot of money. And when you have a track record like this, don't ask me. I've been saying this ever since our friend Scott Silverman would be on the program. When you have those results, how could you not support this organization? I'm a little prejudiced on this, but am I crazy?
Yeah. No. I mean, and so there's the direct savings in terms of the taxpayers and not, spending more to lock people up. But there's also the contribution 100%. And the change trajectory that happens in the individual's lives that are now becoming tax-paying citizens. And so this year, we'll serve about 350 folks, and we put them to work immediately. So they work for us. They're actually paid every day. And we help to get them into what we consider unsubsidized employment post-CEO. And many of those folks, I would say we're at about 50% retention rate in folks engaged in the workforce. And little nuance is we have a very high bar of how we measure what employment means. Some people could be working in sort of the cash economy. Our folks, we actually have to see a paycheck stub. We have to verify that they're working, look at their hours, their wages earned, to record those. And 50% of those folks that are getting into employment and keeping jobs is a benefit to our local economy.
Yeah, and I think, I know Brent's got a question for you before we get to that. You listen, it's the person you're working with. I mean, these are people, for God's sake. And not only are you doing something for that individual, self-esteem, confidence on the track to employment, but think about their families as well. Now their family members back, and is with them, and their kids and their aunts and their uncles and grandkids and all that. It's just more than one person, correct?
Oh, yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, we have, based on the folks that we'll serve this year, more than 50% of them are either parents or they have people that they're responsible for taking care of. So, yeah, there's a collateral impact to that.
It's huge. We're chatting with Rob Smith, San Diego Site Director for the Center for Employment Opportunities. I'm Drew Schlosberg. Cloudcast Media is listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, the nation's longest-running community podcast, brought to you by the fine folks at Mission Fed Credit Union. 6 decades of doing great things in San Diego County, whether it's food insecurity or literacy or the arts or anything in between. Joined by my associate producer of Spotlight Show, Brandon Joe, who is his own entrepreneur, CEO of Treasure Hacks. Brandon?
I'm just curious because I hear the number 22 out of 100 don't go back into, I guess, what they were doing before, yeah?
So if you look at the recidivism rate at around 60 to 70% of those that come out will be reincarcerated within probably 3 years.
Wow.
So it's the reduction on top of those numbers. So it's quite a few folks. The scientists do a much better job of looking at the individual numbers.
Mm-hmm.
I work directly with the clients, but we do track all of our data. We're very comprehensive in terms of our performance metrics and keeping track of all that stuff. But it's actually more.
Because I'm fascinated because that number to me seems almost, feels almost low for how many people get reincarcerated back into the system. Almost seems like the system is broken to me, but outside of programs like yourself.
Yeah, I would say every system works in context of how it's designed. So I try not to use words like broken. If it was designed to work in a certain way, maybe it is actually working in the way it was designed to work. On our side, and the post-release side, our job is to do everything we can to ensure that the individual doesn't continue to engage with that system, and providing them with a range of supports from immediate employment to substance abuse. We have an AA program, we have an NA program, we have housing support systems, we have financial literacy programs that we offer, we have digital literacy programs, we have a range of career pathway opportunities for folks. So if an individual is interested in becoming a commercial truck driver, we'll pay for their license. If they're interested in learning to be a machinist, we actually pay their wages while they go to school to complete that course. So, this year, 350 folks will walk in our door. Of those, 50% of them will get jobs. And of those, another 50% will keep those jobs for a minimum of 12 months. So the numbers are enormous when you look at, we've been doing that now in San Diego since 2011. And every year, our placement rate has gone up, our job retention rate has gone up, our average wage for the participants has gone up. So, yeah, it's a lot of good work.
I mean, I don't think anything that's better, especially for the family of somebody who's had challenges with being incarcerated. Because your personal experience on this. Talk about, the companies you work with that are being willing to hire folks that go through your program, because not every company is. Is that correct?
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. Now we're starting to see a big change, I think, in this sort of social narrative around what it is to give people or to offer folks a fair chance.
Absolutely.
And we work very closely even with the County of San Diego, the Office of Labor Standard and Enforcement, to help promote fair chance hiring. And we have quite a few employers. I mean, every year, out of the folks that we're helping get employed, this year it'll be a little over 200 folks that we'll have to put into full-time employment. All of those employers are sensitive to our folks' background. And so you'd be surprised at how many people, I think it's because they have folks that are in their personal lives have run into situations. And so they understand that need for a second chance or a fair chance.
Yeah, absolutely. Brandon?
I'm just curious because as a resident young person in the room, I don't know history that well. So I'm curious, what was it like before and why the change in how we treat those who are incarcerated?
Well, I think when you look at, we have now, I think the numbers are around 1 in 36 individuals in the U.S. that will have a criminal conviction.
Wow, that's a lot.
And so, I think years ago, when I first came home, there was a lot of language around being punitive towards someone who made a mistake, right? And I think today more people understand that that's not going to fix the problem, right? If we're not working with people, there are a series of things can happen in someone's life. I mean, we know a lot of folks, or a lot more research around this population, and individuals that have suffered from traumatic past experiences, and they've carried that over into adulthood, and they've made some mistakes. I think that now the narrative is changing, and the person is being looked at versus the nature of the crime, or criminalizing the individual. So I think it's a societal shift.
Well, and it needs to be. I want to talk more about that, Rob. We come back from a break. Also want to talk a little bit about how the community can get involved in some of your events. And did you guys do a graduation like Second Chance does, something like that?
Well, so we have almost a graduation on a daily basis.
Oh, wonderful.
The way our program works is open enrollment, open exit.
Okay.
The job placement is sort of their graduation.
Yeah.
And they celebrate that, with their family and as part of a community. We do have quarterly events. Yeah. We have annual events that we do host, where we celebrate the individuals and as a group. So there's definitely ways to get involved. We have a toy drive that's happening this year. Like I said, more than 50% of the folks are going to have young children.
Right.
We're going to have someone that they, in their house that they're taking care of. So we have a toy drive. We have an annual holiday party for our folks where Santa comes out and gives the gifts away. But we need gifts. We need help wrapping the gifts. And there's, ways that folks could help if they know anyone in the community, an employer that's hiring. We're happy to sit down and talk to that employer about their hiring needs and what it is to work with folks that are coming home from incarceration. And to be honest, we have employers that would be willing to publicly, engage in dialogue around the benefits that they've experienced in partnering with us as well. So
we're going to talk about that when we come back from break, as we are joining a conversation with Rob Smith, San Diego Site Director for the Center for Employment Opportunities. I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, the nation's longest-running community podcast on our 18th year, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. 6 decades of doing great things for folks living in San Diego. We will be right back.
When you do your banking with Mission Fed, you get great rates on auto and home loans. That's good for you, but something good also happens for a lot of other people. We're not for profit, so we put money back into the community to help lots of great nonprofits to keep San Diego strong. So you're not just getting something good, you're doing something good. Come to Mission Fed. It's banking that's good for all.
Brand amplification is the DNA of Cloudcast Media, and our code is the powerful blending of sound, voice, and storytelling to lift local brands and their communities. Whether it is our Brandcast, Schoolcast, or Causecast platforms, the unifying ethos is all about this community, the one you call home. If you dare to dream and want to explore the brand amplification of Cloudcast, a national leader in local podcasting and other Winfluence strategies, please visit us at cloudcast.us.
I'm Drew Schlosberg with Cloudcast Media, listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. So pleased to be chatting with Rob Smith, San Diego, Site Director for the Center for Employment Opportunities. Great mission. Rob has been in this field for a while, and the idea is to get folks out of incarceration and into jobs, and they do this almost immediately. Do you have a waiting list at all of people that are looking forward to take care of your take part of your services?
Yes, absolutely. We have about 1,000 referrals a year. And I mentioned we're going to work with about 350 of those individuals this year.
Right.
So that we do have a waiting list.
Is it a resource issue? If you had triple the resources you had, would you be able to take care of all 1,000? Or is it not that easy?
Well, definitely a resource challenge.
Yeah.
But the particular way our model works is that we provide immediate employment. And so those transitional work slots require that we have partnerships.
Right.
Currently, we are partnered with the Caltrans, who's our largest customer across the state of California. Okay. We have 9 sites here in California. Each one of those slots provides a daily work opportunity for someone. But we've done work for the city of San Diego, the city of Chula Vista, city of Escondido, and some of these partnerships have allowed us to provide more people employment.
Right.
And then, of course, resources in terms of meeting the client's sort of basic needs is always a challenge. So we could always use more resources.
And the reason why I bring that up, Rob, easier said than done, quite obviously. But if there were more, employers, that would involve, more Caltranses and City of Chula Vistas and so forth. And if, a largesse of money fell into your pocket, and then you could hire, either more people or certainly meet those basic needs of those folks. That's what it takes then, correct? And, all that's holding you back is those resources. Not that it's not that so easy to wave a magic wand and get those, But what would you say, and it was very encouraging to see that sort of the attitudes have flipped a little bit. And now looking at, if we do work with these folks, give them a second chance or whatever chance we're going to give them, this does work out better for society, instead of, nope, let's just keep them, incarcerated or not give them a chance in this. So that's good that shift is there, but there's always room for a bigger shift. Is that correct?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. If anyone wants to learn more or ever become involved with what we do, you can always visit our website, ceoworks.org. We're also on social media platforms, so you're more than welcome to follow us. I think the shift is policy change that's happened. Right. And the individuals in these policy positions are realizing that these are valuable assets to our community. There's a lot of lived experience in when you've made mistakes and being able to speak to the younger generations that may still, be going through some of these challenges in their life. So for, at least in San Diego County, we do see a really big shift, the alternatives to incarceration.
That's great.
I don't know if you're familiar with the San Diego Homeless Court. We actually host that homeless court at our location. But that's a partnership between the public defender, the district attorney, the court, the child support, the motor vehicles. And those partners at those economies of scale can make change. We have a lot of good heart in the community wanting to do the work on the ground.
That's right.
The credible messenger for the individuals. But these system players also make a huge difference.
Do you work closely with the Sheriff's Department on some of these?
Absolutely. We do work closely with the Sheriff's Department and their reentry team and probation.
That's
probation, right. We have a very good working relationship with probation, where probation officers are directing their clients into us. Practically those 1,000 referrals are either through parole or through probation.
Yeah, well, we had Kelly Martinez on the show, sitting where you were. And I'm sure you heard the interview, but she was spectacular. No shock there. Yeah. And talked a little bit exactly what you're talking about. And then we did a remote over at the Sheriff's Department, and we talked to the reentry folks. Yeah. And so guarantee they work with you shoulder to shoulder. Did you work with Father Joe's Villages at all?
Yes. Father Joe's Village is one of the original partners in the San Diego Homeless Court. We also share resources and our clients. We refer the clients to them, and their clients that are in their housing partake in our program.
So Deacon Jim, a very close friend of mine, is on the show about as much as, probably more than me sometimes, in this area. Talk about your annual Fair Chance job fair.
Yeah, so in April of next year, we will have a job fair. It actually has a number of components, right? We have an employer forum where there's an education opportunity for employers to learn more about Fair Chance hiring practices. And we provide an actual toolkit in conjunction with San Diego County and the Department of Office of Labor Standards and Enforcement. And then we have the actual job fair. So you can come and learn about what it is to work with folks from this population, but you can also set up a table. And if you want to conduct interviews, mock interviews, help with resume review, you can do all of those things as part of this.
Right. You have a holiday lunch coming up too, do you not?
Yes. So in December, we're still locking the date in. Okay. But we have our annual holiday lunch that's probably going to be close to about 200 or so of our participants and their families. Okay. Like I said, Santa comes out and we have a toy drive. We're appreciative of the support. We have folks like Shepard Mullen, who's on our board, Accenture, nice, that have been long-standing members of our annual toy drive, and quite a few other folks that have supported over the years.
I'd love to do, Rob, not to break any privacy laws and all this business, but next time you're on, which will be, sooner than later, I'd love the content. You can't chat about it enough of what you folks are doing on this. I'd love to have you bring on someone maybe from Caltrans or whoever you think. It's been a great, and maybe one of the folks who've gone through the program.
Yeah, They'd love to.
Consider it a done deal. Yeah. And you got my contact info. As soon as you send me an email, I'll send you some dates in January. To me, that's what it's all about. Here's what we do. Here's the organizations, and your person can talk about getting more businesses involved, and of course the one that went through the program. So would love to do that. Yeah. What can our listeners do to support you?
Again, they can go to our website, ceoworks.org. Our office right downtown on the corner of 3rd and A. If anyone's ever interested in coming in for a tour, feel free to email us. There's a email on the website. It gets right to me, and so happy to set up any conversations with employers, or if anyone is, wanting to donate. I mean, there's all sorts of basic needs, things that we need: toothpaste, toothbrushes, things like that. You can walk in, drop them off. We have a food pantry where we provide folks daily food, depending on, if they're currently in a crisis. So we're always accepting donations for our food pantry as well.
Yeah. And what you just mentioned is it's something, you don't have Bill Gates money to get involved. Not going to turn down Bill Gates money, of course, but but anyone can help support what you're doing, which is just so much great for the betterment of the person that was incarcerated and the community as a whole. Wishing you nothing but great success. Can't wait to have you come back in, hopefully as early as January, and with someone that you worked with that hires the folks that go through your program, and someone who's gone through that. Yeah. Rob, thank you so much for what you've done and what you continue to do, and I just hope it continues to grow by leaps and bounds.
Oh, thanks. I know being on your show probably is going to help us do that. So anytime you have an opening, just let us know.
Consider it a done deal. You're very, very kind. I'm talking to Rob Smith, San Diego Site Director for the Center for Employment Opportunities. I'm Drew Schlosberg. You've been listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, the nation's longest-running community podcast, now in our 18th year. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union for 6 decades, doing great things in San Diego County. We hope you enjoyed the interview.
You've been listening to an episode of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego community. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
Cloudcast Media.